Hello. I know. I know. Trust me, I know. There's a new background. How could you ever trust me again? Zealand, you've hoodwinked me, you've bamboozled me, you've led me astray. Typically, we sit down, we have a nice fireside chat. There's a nice RGB ambiance, really cool looking stuff sitting on a shelf. Even my fancy YouTube plaque sitting on a shelf, staring back at you with the authority that it dares command. That you, internet person, should be listening to me, the man with the fancy RGB lights in the background. And now you're disoriented. Now you're looking at a guy just sitting in a room on a lower definition camera with not nearly as many cool things on his shelf. Although, to be fair, there are still some cool things back here. That is a very large terracotta warrior replica I bought when I went to China and went to the terracotta army. And then that is a medal I got for running the New York Marathon. So those are both cool. Those are mugs also. And those are stickers I put on those cabinets when I was like 6 years old, because we are in my childhood bedroom because I'm home to see family for the week. A lot of family in town. It's going to be a great time. They're out painting eggs right now, right? Easter weekend and all that. But I'm in here, right, talking to you on this low definition camera with the, there's like a cat tower literally right here. Like, it's impossible to properly do. There's a very large cat tower. I just can't get it in the camera right now on this whole setup. And I'm just asking you to trust me on this one, that I'm the same person. I haven't changed, right? Even though I am low def. Maybe I look a little scruffier. Maybe low def is actually kind to me. There is that possibility that I've failed to consider. But if you can look past my plebeian presentation, there is something that has hoodwinked and bamboozled me. Something that has absolutely blown my mind. A story that I actually don't even believe from the footballing and soccer world, and it has to do with Xabi Alonso. Because he has done something that almost no manager has done in recent memory. Xabi Alonso has become the head coaching darling. He has become the head coach that every head coach wants to be, that every club wants to sign. And he said no. Now, I am not somebody that is good at predicting the future when it comes to football or soccer. I really just sit here and talk to y'all about all this stuff. But I was sure, completely sure, that Xabi Alonso was going to leave Bayer Leverkusen. I'll fill you in on the backstory real quick. Bayer Leverkusen having an undefeated season. They're unbelievable, unstoppable. They are doing a tremendous job as a team. And Xabi Alonso obviously is their coach, even though he's kind of new to coaching. He only retired a few years ago. Like, he is doing it. He's clearly an amazing coach, right? He is going to end Bayern's run as the 11-time champion of the Bundesliga. Absolutely incredible. They're unbeaten. They're on the run for, I believe, a treble. Or they haven't lost a competitive match all year. Europa League, DFB Pokal, Bundesliga. And that means he's a darling, right? Bayer Leverkusen's never won the Bundesliga. This, if they manage to hold on to it, which they came back from a goal down to win today because they have more plot armor than a Disney princess, literally. They are unkillable. And a lot of it has to do with Xabi Alonso. Like, they're probably going to win that league. They're probably going to win it for the first time ever. And he is the guy, right? He's the new manager. And as so happens, and this sort of confluence never happens, two of Xabi Alonso's former clubs have openings. Of course, Liverpool for the first time in a decade because Jurgen Klopp has announced he's leaving at the end of the season. And then, of course, Thomas Tuchel, the tank engine. He is also leaving at Bayern Munich. And that means Xabi Alonso has his choice. This never happens. This is not a unique situation, but a very unusual and unlikely one, where he is sitting there, the darling of the managerial world, young, confidence-inspiring, an A-plus hire no matter where he goes, having led a renaissance and clearly at this point leading one of the best teams in Europe right now that has just emerged out of the ashes of Granit Xhaka's career, apparently. Led by Czech striker Patrick Schick, right? Like, we're dealing with players that are one step below the Erling Haalands of the world, and they're still delivering the results for Xabi Alonso. And both of those teams were obviously super interested in hiring Xabi Alonso. And he turned them down. I would have sworn up and down that he would have gone to Liverpool. And then I was convinced that when Thomas Tuchel was announced that he would be leaving, that Bayern's plan in doing that was to try and steal Xabi Alonso. Because if Bayern has one fetish, one unholy addiction, it is stealing things and stuff from other Bundesliga teams. They cannot help themselves. Robert Lewandowski, right? Like, it is my favorite example of this all time, where he's Dortmund's best player and they just pull him out. Mats Hummels did the same. I mean, there's too many examples for me to count, right? But Manuel Neuer is technically the same thing. They just aggregate the best the Bundesliga produces on one team. That's what Bayern does. It is their passion. And I would not have been surprised at all if they managed to steal Xabi Alonso, even though I'm sure the moment Klopp said he was leaving, everybody at Liverpool was already talking to Xabi Alonso to try and get him to go there. But the third option that nobody considered is that he would announce that he would stay at Bayer Leverkusen, which is what he did, right? That's what he did. Xabi Alonso set to stay. Decision made and confirmed for Xabi, who's staying for one more season. So that means this is not, I'm staying to the end of the year. Obviously, that wasn't the question. This is, I'm staying through next year. That's what he came out and said, look, I mean, he could renege on this, right? He could go back on it and be like, actually, I just wanted to get this to the summer to keep my players motivated, but now I'm going to go to Liverpool. Sorry, this is the chance of a lifetime. Or now I'm going to go to Bayern. Sorry, this is the chance of a lifetime. That is possible. But barring that happening, right, if he actually sticks to his word that he has just said, this is a stunning move. Because there are levels, right? There are levels to the game. Bayern is one of the 4 or 5 biggest clubs in the world. Liverpool, even if people are hating on Liverpool, is top 7 or 8, right? Of the biggest clubs in the world, right? That you could possibly be managing. They have all of the money. They have all of the facilities. They have all of the player draw. And they have all of the ambition to be able to win every major trophy in the game every year. Obviously, for Liverpool, that's a little harder because it's harder to qualify for the Champions League in the Prem than it is in Bundesliga, right? But if Liverpool's in the Champions League, their aspirations to win it. Every year for the past 6 or 7 years, Liverpool's gone into the Prem going, we're going to win it. The FA Cup going, we're going to win it. And set out with that goal, and it's a completely realistic aspiration for them to be able to attain that goal. Bayer Leverkusen is not that. And because of FFP, this result will not change that overnight. Bayer Leverkusen is not going to have the same resources. It's not going to have the same facilities. And even after this amazing season, it's not going to have the same draw because it can't offer anywhere near the same wages of these other teams, right? And not to, like, it is amazing because also Xabi Alonso can't get paid as much, right? Like, he's not going to be able to get paid as much staying at Bayer Leverkusen. The only motivating factor that I can see with these eyes right here is that he is basically doing what you do in Football Manager in real life. He's sitting there and he's taking these gallant pictures like this one that that Fabrizio Romano is using. And he's going, okay, I like this group of players. We're already beating Bayern. I'm the only unbeaten team left in Europe. Like, we're already great. We'll be in the Champions League next year. I want to take this team through that Champions League thing next year. But I don't believe it's as wholesome as like he wants to spend the rest of his career at Bayer Leverkusen because he just loves it there. No. I'm too cynical. And I'm also not convinced, I'm not convinced that that is possible, right? When you're dealing with people that have this kind of ambition and this kind of opportunity, it is just, it's the difference between managing Bayer Leverkusen and managing Bayern Munich or Liverpool is the difference between managing in the championship and managing in the mid-table of the Prem. I mean, there's a completely different level of expectation and allowed spend and facilities and just draw, down to the, down to the just allure of the fact that Xabi Alonso has played for those clubs as well. It's a huge step up. So I think there's something else going on here. And this is where, me, I love to don the tinfoil hat, try and sniff out the plot that happens to be going on. And I smell something. I smell something in the wind. I smell something in the breeze that could be afloat here. And that is the unique stench of Papa Perez. I think Florentino is all over this because, as Fabrizio notes, there is a release clause that kicks in for Xabi Alonso's contract as a manager at the end of next season. It's a release clause. That means you won't have to pay much compensation in order to sign him. Now, maybe Real Madrid is the preferred destination of Xabi Alonso. We don't know. I will say this. I would be surprised if Fabrizio, or I keep mixing him up with everybody, I would be surprised if Florentino had not reached out at some point to Xabi Alonso and said, hey, Don Carlos maybe looking to retire, or he's moving to the Brazil national team, or whatever Don Carlos got going on, right? Whatever Carlo Ancelotti's got going on, and going, hey, we can get Xabi Alonso in, we get a young manager in, type of guy that can go for a decade, has great cachet, clearly an excellent manager, the number one A+ hire in the entire world. This is what Florentino Perez does. He smells opportunity to use the brand name of Real Madrid and leverage it to get guys for cheap and to set up moves years in the future, like Mbappe, right? Set up all these moves years in the future so that he can get his hands on the right players and the right coaches, perhaps. I think that Florentino Perez might be involved in this, because in what world do you turn down two of your former teams, Bayern Munich and Liverpool, when they both have an opening and they are both desperate to hire you, unless you see greener pastures? Now, there is also the fact that him turning it down, him saying he's going to stay an extra year, is going to galvanize his team to maybe do something really special. An unbeaten treble is an incredibly rare feat in any of the top 5 European leagues. Incredibly rare, right? This would be an unbelievable achievement. Even if it's Europa League instead of Champions League, it is undoubtedly an unbelievable achievement. You end Bayern Munich's 11-year run. And so when you're involved in that, I can understand not being able to look past this year. And if he makes that commitment to be there next year, that's galvanizing for the team. They look at it and they go like, he's with us, he believes in us, and here we go, right? There's no more of that cloud hanging over like, well, what's Xabi Alonso going to do at the end of the season? And maybe that sets it up for he does that to motivate his team, and then he leaves this summer and he goes to Liverpool or Bayern anyways, and then all of this is for naught. But I think Real Madrid might be involved in those sweepstakes too. I don't know how long Don Carlo's got going left, and Real Madrid's the type of team that would be able to make that move. Yeah, it's just a gut feeling. It's just something I smell in the breeze. But this was stunning. I very, very rarely these days do you get a headline that pops up as a push notification on your phone and you just go, oh, whoa, what? I did not even give this a chance of happening. And let's say Xabi Alonso really, really means this. I respect the hell out of it. I respect the hell out of it. I do. Because Xabi Alonso, he sees something. He sees an opportunity here that he's willing to turn down other massive opportunities to continue to pursue. He's gone against the grain. He's surprised everybody. And that has also put, just totally separate note here, that has put Liverpool and Bayern in a lurch. Because if you're looking at a perspective of those two teams, they thought they had a shot at an A+ hire that is now gone. At least it seems that it's gone. And that means Bayern Munich, which has Alphonso Davies saying he wants to wait to see who the new manager is. Joshua Kimmich is saying he wants to wait to see who the new manager is. That's dangerous. You could end up in some sort of Bayern downward spiral here if you start losing a couple of great players because they're not quite happy with the new managerial signing and the new plan because you missed out on the A+ hire. I don't know if there is another A+ hire out there if you're Bayern Munich. And if you're Liverpool, now you're reaching. Now you're down to option 2, option 3. Who are you looking for? It's going to be a weird managerial silly season, all because this one incredibly, well jawlined individual has decided he's staying at Bayer Leverkusen. At least that's what it seems all the way through next season. Silly season is upon us, to borrow an F1 term. I don't know. I need to watch the new season of Drive to Survive. Maybe I'll go do that now.